Hello there, and let's start this live stream. We already are a few people here. Love to hear where you're from. It's Peter from Helsinki, Finland. Where are you from? It's 9 p.m. over here. So, what's your time zone? So we know what time of day it is. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Depends where you are. And today we will have some images from May's assignment, which was quite interesting in my opinion. You have this photographing motion and movements. And John Pika from Colorado, it's noon. Switzerland, it's okay. Yeah, it's about roughly the same time that you're still at 8 o'clock and we're 9 o'clock. So Yossi from Haifa, yeah, some familiar names here. Welcome you all, and we have someone from somewhere else also here online. Before we start looking at your images, and it was really uh, interesting to see all those different types of images, and I will go through what assignment was the most popular, which probably won't be a surprise. We will reveal that. We'll just wait for a little more people to arrive. Okay, hello Anne from Kuopio. You've been active on this assignment thing, which is really great because it's a good learning or good way of learning and how to do different assignments. And I hope they've been inspirational. And some of you did quite a lot of job to do that, and then that's always the main thing with these assignments is that you get inspired and try new things and try to push yourself to actually doing it and not letting you easy on that, but just to push yourself a little bit, and you won't learn if you don't. You gotta feel a little uncomfortable with it and try to push yourself to the edge so that you can get the image that you want. And there's whole month to do, so hopefully there is some time for you to photograph. And also the assignments are good in that sense that you have some kind of a thing to photograph and take time for that. You go out for that assignment, so it's kind of like a good time to concentrate on photography because there's other things in life going on, and if you don't have any assignments, you might just the camera might be on the shelf collecting dust. But with this, at least, I hope it inspires you. Yeah, you're welcome, Richard. Sorry about the little hassle. This was supposed to be a week ago, but then there was something wrong with the Google form. I don't know if I did something wrong, but there were only few images uploaded, and then some said to me that it doesn't work, and so I don't know what was wrong with that. But I'm glad that you people could make it today here on this live stream, which is supposed to be a week ago, but I'm glad we could have it right now. Hello, Kitty from Orlando, Florida. You must have pretty warm weather over there because we've had nice and quite warm here in Finland. Okay, warm is a little bit subjective because it doesn't get that hot here. But next week it's supposed to be quite hot for Finland. But let's see what happens. I personally prefer a little cooler weather because I don't like the really hot weather at all. But it's nice. Some people like it, and it's usually sunny and nice, and people smile. So it's a good thing to have a good weather. But I think we could start with the thing and the show now that we're more people has coming. This I don't know if you. Oh, let me change that. I don't know if you've seen this video, and why I'm showing this now is because there's also an assignment in this video. If you haven't seen this one, there's a link in the description where you can watch this. And I will have an extra theme, an extra what do you call an extra live stream, an extra assignment for 52 assignments because there are actually only 48, and now we will have 4 extra ones. The first one was the image from last year, your best image from last year, and now second one is a image or an image inspired by some artist, some art movement, music, whatever thing or literature, whatever has been inspiring you when and then you could if you can show that in one photograph. So check out that. And yes, James Boyer, great artist steal, exactly. And that was my kind of idea on that video because I was the microphone is okay now. I think it's a little bit better. That was my kind of inspiration. But what is your and try to find your inspiration from one artist and send me an image and that live stream will be on the 21st of June. So I think next week. So I hope I only got like 6 images so far, but hopefully I get some more so we can get a real good live stream and have a little discussion about artists that has been inspiring you. Then let's look at the assignment this time. And I wasn't very surprised that motion blur was the biggest one because it is an effective way to make images is the motion blur. And then we had speed and what just happened, which is quite cool because that is an interesting thing. And we do have quite a few of those here also. That was fast, wasn't really that interesting to you. So we won't see much of those. But yeah, that was kind of I would say I suspected that because it is quite close to speed or motion blur in a way. So you could have them on either one. So I don't think that's the biggest problem here that you don't was not so inspired by that was fast. But let's say with the first image, and that is Ari Kalliala, and that is what just happens. That's probably his dog. It doesn't say here, but I suspect that it is his dog. It's called Maya. Maya, and Spanish water dog loves to jump into water. Shot with continuous shooting mode, and then is edited in Photoshop. I kind of like this type of images where you have the same thing moving on, and you have the same uh, person, or in this case, the dog that jumps in the water and shows the movement. And this is a good uh, way of showing the different movements or the different positions that the dog has, or any whatever is moving like this or jumping. And then, I don't know if there could have been one more shot, maybe. I don't know if that's would have been possible. Some photograph where there's only the head in the water, but I like this one. It's a good interpretation that just happened that you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. And please comment whatever you think about these images. It's always a good thing to have some kind of feedback from you guys too. And always remember, it doesn't mean that if you comment on some images that or have some ideas that what could be better or something, it doesn't mean that you are a better photographer in sense or feel like you're better, but you still have some ideas, or if you have some ideas, because that's always another learning curve. To think why you like an image or you don't. What are the things? It's always good to discuss. And if you disagree, please, that'll be interesting to have a discussion because it's just my take on images, and it doesn't mean that I'm always correct about this because it's always a matter of opinion when you're looking at images. But please comment. What do you think about this Ari's? I hope I said the name right, Ari Kalle. And yeah, but well done. I like this one. And then we have some more animals. This is exciting image. K Cannon is this what just happened. I went on a whale watching boat trip, and the guide pointed out female humpback whale that had recently given birth to his calf on featured on the left hand side of the shot. The cow dives frequently to suckle from mom. Yeah, that's a pretty long lens, 277 millimeter. I would suspect that it's kind of a zoom must be. because of the yeah, it's a good shot, and so that you have them both there, and that's what I like about this. And the color tones are really nice because the interesting and quite deep blue, and at the same time a nice bright blue, and the water splashing around, so you can really sense the speed and think what just happened. And those type of boat trips are probably pretty cool. I've never been on one. Oh, and again, the audio is clipping. I don't know what's wrong with my audio here all the time. Maybe I'll lower the volume slightly, and I hope it makes it makes it a bit better. I don't know what's wrong with the audio. I need to figure this out. It's been in the recent ones, but now it seems that there is another problem here. Maybe it's interference because I'm using a wireless mic this time, because I have another mic over there, but it hasn't been working. I hope you can get it sound, or it could be also the internet connection, because we've had some troubles today with the internet connections here. We have several of them, and all of them have been failing slightly. So I hope this will go okay. But please let me know if there's some problems with the audio. Then we have Sue Townsend. This is speed. Although I planned to take some photos, it was really a wet day and I found myself at the traffic lights in downpour. I took many photos trying to capture the speeds. This one is the best one. It wasn't easy to pan at the right speed, and the assignment was another great challenge. Yeah, panning actually isn't that easy. It seems to be easy, but it actually isn't. The panning speed has to be exactly the same as the moving object if you want that to be pin sharp. And I think this is very well done, and I really like the composition too, so that the car is on the top, and you can really see the rain and the wet surface there, which makes the image quite nice. And the color of the car is quite nice to the other tones that there is in the image. And even though you're panning, you can still see the water, which is not always the case. If you're panning too much, it might just get smushy. But on this one, I think it shows nice. And also, what I like about are the wheels of the car. Have you have the shell, or the kind of like a structure in there, and it's really showing the speed. Yeah, I really appreciate this image. And on these ones, sometimes what you should do is try to play with the contrast. It looks actually quite contrasty online, which is usually the case. It's a bit or not that contrasty on my screen, but on live stream it looks perfect. The red is a lot deeper than on the original image here on my screen. And I did say about the composition, which I like a lot. It's well balanced. It's not the most obvious, but I think it's well done. Yeah, I like. Yeah, this is exactly what makes this a lot more interesting, is the rain and the water and everything, and the slight reflections on the ground and all that. That was well done. Then we have something totally different. This is Raymond Hudson, and I like what he said. There goes a second of my life in a blur of time. Off it goes, and it will never come back. Yeah, great little piece of story. But I'd say that second, or actually, it looks here to be, well, it's a second, yes. Well spent 1 second of your life. It looks a bit different. I especially like the composition that you've gotten really close, and so the emphasis on the movement of the what do you call those things that show the time? But anyways, the moving point, is that a point or whatever that is called? It it shows just enough so that there is enough motion, and there's also enough texture on that so that you can actually see it. So a bit longer shutter speed would have probably made it too blurry, or too fast a shutter speed wouldn't have not shown the motion as it is here. I don't know how you took this, did you? If you hear, it'd be cool to hear that if you kind of planned it or made the time to be exactly like that, or was it actually on that time? I should have checked the exit data on this. I just realized that probably it would have shown in the data about the time. But yeah, clever idea and really, really well done. Yeah, this is true what James is saying. That neat idea. You can almost hear the tick of the clock mechanism. That's true. And with the story, there goes a second of my life in a blur of time. Off it goes, and it will never come back. I like that. It's that could be, put the text on the image and have like, yeah, works well, works real well. And then we have Kitty Clerico. This image was created using my Camera Plus app on my phone. I combined the slow shutter mode with motion. I like the clean, abstract look to the image. I had taken my regular camera, but was told I could not use it. Using my phone reminded me of how much fun it is to simply play with making images sometimes. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that you can't use a camera in a gallery, but then you can use your phone. So, like, what's the difference? I can understand that taking big lenses to a place where there are other people or in this might be a bit, especially on vernissage and all that stuff, that could be, if you're on the way. It's funny how people or places don't allow cameras, but then you can shoot with your mobile phone and get great results like this. I especially like the idea that you have combined images on this one to make it, if I understood correctly. I combined the slow shutter mode with motion. Oh, yeah, yeah, you're moving the camera. Oh, okay, now I understand. Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, moving the camera with the slower shutter speed. And here, if you have an app that can do that, you can do this with the phone, no problem with that. And the motion or the camera movement has made the image a bit blurry and the people kind of like transparent, and then the pieces of art look even more abstract than they most likely are. And the color tones are really nice too. What I would have done, maybe cropping it slightly from the left side and the top. There's a bit too much white, on my opinion, on the left side. I could have made it even better and slightly tighter. So you might want to try that and see how that works. And let's go to the next one. And another motion blur, which is Bruno Wilde. This picture was taken in May at the national grand finale of combat terrains or Swiss cow fighting in Aproswell, Switzerland. And then there's a story how this whole thing works and some background information. It's a long text, so I'm not going to read that all. It was a very bright and sunny day, and picture was taken around lunchtime. Therefore, I had to choose the smallest aperture in order to get the motion blur. Yeah, it was made with f/22, which of course is a lot of light because the aperture is so small. Yeah, that's the only way to do it, unless you have the ability to use ND filters. That's another uh, way of making this so that you don't have to stop down that much. Because of course, if you're stopping down too much, there might be some what do you call this diffraction that will, because the light has to bend so much that it makes slight unsharpness. But if there is motion blur like this, it doesn't really matter because the unsharpness or the imperfections in sharpness doesn't really matter at all. So you're really good to go when the whole image is kind of blurred and with motion. Then it's not a problem to use small apertures to get the slower shutter speed. I like how there is in the middle. You have. Let me see if I can. No, it's this one here. You got like two eyes, and here you can see the movement of the cow, and also here the number. There's quite a lot of movement, and so is here. You can see from this, and then the legs and all. It's a great shot. I really like this, and I think these type of images make a lot more sense making in situations like this because there is a lot of motion and a lot of hassle. If everything was just freeze, it wouldn't give the same feeling. So I think with storytelling in a place like this, I think the motion blur adds a lot to an image. So it was a good choice to go over there and do the motion blur image. And then we have an image from Brad Warrior, motion blur, captured with a slow shutter speed and strobe of a flash, light held by other, or there was a flash in the other hand. And what it did, the flash, was stopped the motion. You can see the, no, not this one. You can see the motion here, quite a long and fast motion. And then with the flash, you get this sharp thing. So combining motion and flash usually freezes the motion. And on this one, it must have been the flash went off when the shadow was closing. Then you have the kind of like the motion trails behind. So when the motion comes, it's over here and not if it had gone off when the shutter is opening, then the knife would be over here, and then you would have the kind of like the motion streak in front of the motion. And I think this way it's a lot better. It's a bit harsh light, but I like the bright yellow and then the purple color in the back and some red here. Over here, red, and then you have some purple and blue and all those colors. Maybe this is a bit this I don't know what this black thing here is. Maybe it's a television or something. That's a bit maybe distracting. I like these pictures here, but that one is maybe a bit too big because then you get the reflection of the flash that is. So that could be something to clone out to make it a bit better because it draws slightly attention from this well-made technique or well-used technique, and you really mastered the techniques. In that sense, it was really well done. And then we have an image from John Picha. I hope I say your name, Pika. I hope I say it right. I had the idea to try planning shot of a locomotive as it passed through the trestle to generate some motion blur in the bridge framing. I chose f22 at 200 to get slow shutter speed without the ND filter handy. It was a fun day of photography. I applied a sepia filter to the imaging post for old-time look. Yeah, definitely this look is just the right look for an image like this. And I have to tell a story about museum trains. There was actually one that caught fire here in Finland yesterday. It was one of those things that like museum trains. It was pretty much the same, a little smaller, but pretty much the same looking train. And it caught fire in the middle of the tracks on Sunday when it had some tourists. It's just you pay and then they drive around and by the Finland. Nobody got hurt though, but I don't know what happened to the old locomotive, which is a pity if it was destroyed. Yeah, I I totally I totally agree. I think it fits so well and it makes it kind of like an old looking image. And as I said, on a subject like this, it's just perfect because then you have the old time vibes and the speed and everything. This really really well executed image, and also the editing adds to the story and kind of like supports the story. Right. I think it's a good one. And then we have Jan Rossi, and this is speed. And here is I've looked at this image for a long time, and I was thinking that how is this made? But of course, it's been or he's been panning that one driver, and then on this type of bumper car things, or are these might be no, that's not a bumper car. These are I don't know what you call these small formula cars. Karting, that is, yes. And following one and then having some others with different speed overlapping behind and front, and then you have the tires front, and the color is the perfect red color, blue shirt, black helmet, and then you have reds on the back, white. Everything works in this image. This is just fantastic photograph, I think. There's everything in place, and the composition isn't the traditional one. Quickly turn myself off from there, and it's marvelous. It just works because of the composition, the speed, the sharpness is just enough. There's slight motion blur, doesn't matter. It just works, and it's another easy shot. It's really well executed. And we go to the next one, slightly different. Now this one is from James Boyer and Motion Blur. Waterfall, Horgen, Switzerland. I experimented with lots of combination of slow shutter speed using ND filters and shooting from a tripod, but in the end, this handheld snapshot reliable camera's IBIS came out the best. Yeah, this is sometimes it happens that you're using all kinds of different techniques, and then the simplest image is the best one. And yeah, I don't know what the other images were. There's always a discussion about how the water should be photographed. Some like really smooth milk water that it's almost like lava or something like that. This one, I think the shutter speed is quite good. Let me see. There was 1/40th of a second. Yes, that's what it says over there. The reason is that you can still see kind of like I'm not saying the structure of the water, but the kind of like the shapes that comes when the water is falling. There are some sharpish things, and then you have the sum of the motion visible there, and I think it's quite well. And every time you go, or anytime you go to photograph water or waterfalls, try different shutter speeds because it's not always best to have the longest one. Sometimes it might give you the best result, sometimes not. So play around with the shutter speeds to get the look that you like. And what I like about this is that James tried different ways of different shutter speeds and tripod, and then ended up with the handheld shot. And I think that's one big part. Like I said at the beginning, that's one big part of the whole thing about this assignment is to try different things to make them look better. Yeah, well done, James. And then we have Margaret Wong. This is a speed. Seen at the local Japanese festival, handheld speed. Uh, although the motion in this image is frozen, I like how speed is implied by the flow of the garments and hair. Yeah, that's also the part of the thing. And freezing the motion, and then some parts are moving is a great way of doing. And then you just have to have the perfect moment to press the shutter so that you have sharp faces and then the hair is flying. And if you look at here, it's almost like it's uh, not, or it's floating in the air because there is some black hair, so you can't really see, but really, really nice movement here, and also the hair here and the face and the concentration on the face. I could probably improve this image by cropping it closer so that you would see the this part maybe closer, because this doesn't really add to the motion, because I think here is the most important part if we talk about the motion. Otherwise, this uh, crop competition is nice because you can see the clothes, you can see the whole situation. But this particular image with the assignment, I would crop it a bit closer, then it would be even better. So maybe you try that and see how it goes. Because sometimes cropping the image is a good thing. I don't see that as a bad thing. If you see that your image is inside your image, then just crop it. Of course, if you can like sometimes you don't have the lens, then you have to crop, but then it's also better to kind of pre-visualize the image that you will crop into it. And actually, I will have about this topic a video tomorrow. So if you're interested in hearing what that pre-visualization is, you might want that. Let's see. Yeah, that's true also that they are well separated from the black background. Yeah, that's also important if uh, something kind of like blends too much to the background and then you can't really see. But on this one, usually on stages, it's or on performances like this, you usually the one that has made the lights usually thinks about that, but it's not always. And that was a good point. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Well done. And then this one is interesting. Lindsay Whelan's and the topic is, or the assignment is, what just happened. My daughter is new to inline skating and wanted to try out a small slope at the skate park on her own. I'm not sure if the blur is me reacting to her falling or that 100, 150, 1/500th of a second was not fast enough. I had to crop this image a bit and remove a few distractions. I think it's a pretty interesting thing that she's falling down and you're taking photographs. I think thumbs up to that, and I hope that she didn't hurt herself. But great moment, really great moment, and a beautiful memory also. And I like the surroundings, a bit rough surroundings. You know, you have the some graffiti stuff there, and then this girl, which is kind of like a slight contrast with the surroundings, and then the colors are perfect. I just love the colors. You have the pinkish wheels, and then you have the same color helmet, and then nice blue pants, and then the white thing. But I'm glad there are all the pads, elbow pads, and knee pads, and everything, and a helmet on, and everything. And I hope she's okay. This is I saw this on the Facebook group and was really smiling. I think there's something. It's not funny when something falls, but there's something nice in this image anyway. Everything just falls falls into place, except that she's falling down. But I hope she didn't hurt herself and got up and tried it again. She will make it. I just love the shot. Yeah. And then we have next one. This is Tony Alford. Blue tit leaving bird box at full speed and arrives at the same blurry speed to feed its brood. Yeah. This first I saw that and I said, where is the emotion? But of course, right there in the middle of the shot. Probably what could have made it slightly better to lower the highlights a bit because this part here is well, it's not blown out. It looks like on the stream that it's blown out. But here it's emotion, and I think it's the perfect timing, and it's not easy to do. I don't know if you hear, Tony, did you use the Pro Capture, or did you just react it perfectly? Because it is a perfect timing, and just lowering the surrounding slightly would make the bird pop out a bit more. So that could make it a bit better because it's perfectly exposed to the right, but then you need to lower the exposure slightly and make maybe add a little bit of contrast and some saturation to make it better. But that's just me. That's the way I like the images. But the idea is to make the bird pop out slightly more because it's a bit too washed out. Perfect timing, and this is a great shot to just need a bit editing. Not easy to do. Well done. And then another bird shot, which is from Bill Landon. London, yeah, London. It's also motion blur like the before the Tony's image also. This hummingbird showed up at feeder in the last few minutes of sunlight, resulting in soft lighting of the bird's bird wings and tail. Yeah, the light is beautiful, and you can see how the light goes through the wings and a rim light around it against the black back or the dark background. A perfect image. It's slightly out of focus, I think here. The motion, it's not out of focus, but the motion blur is slightly here. This is great motion blur here, but over here it's slightly too much. You could, if you have the possibility to try photo AI from Topaz, that could probably fix that small blurriness in the head, and then maybe blend those two together, and that could make it perfect. And then on this one too, I would open up the bird slightly, make it a bit brighter, and lower the background so that the bird would pop out. But otherwise, it's totally perfect. A perfect moment just before it lands on the drinking or what. It's very nice. And the colors too, and the tone and everything. It just works. And then we have this, which is an interesting Christian Mihaescu photo near park, and he disconnected stabilization to obtain smoothness. So the long shutter speed, IBIS off, and then you can get this impressionistic look. And this also could be a big print on the wall. I like this type of images that it's not obvious to make, but then if you start trying and like motion blur, it can also be the camera that is moving. And if you're making these type of images, just take several of them because they might come out totally different from with different shutter speeds, with different places, because of course the movement, the hand's movement is also random. So take several of these, and here we can see that there's quite a bit of movement, but it still has the subject in it. You can still see that there are some trees and some leaves and some grass in the front. And I also like the different shades of green here. The really dark ones and really light ones and really saturated ones and almost yellowish here. And then some brighter ones here. So there are a lot of things going on here in this image. Well done also. And then we have image from Anne Kasurinen. Busy month and busy week. So all my May images kind of reflect that, and therefore were more or less motion blur. In this image, black and white seem to work the best. I was on a bridge above a street view and took some shot from there of people passing by with different shutter speeds. Somehow like this of them most, but not an easy thing to get it right. Motion blur. Here, the patterns in skirt or bag added to the image. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's I don't know who it is, but it looks kind of like a bit witchy because of kind of like this hat or the shape of the movement makes the hat here, and then kind of like a broom type of thing. So this is really interesting, and I think these gravel things on the road adds up also to the story. I don't know if this is the same place where you took earlier with the bridge that was under construction. I don't know if this is the same place, but I like the thing, and also what's interesting is that the person looks really short because of the motion blur, and not saying that he or she maybe she is short, but it looks like it. And the composition I like. You have kind of like room to or room for her to move, and then it's kind of like lower the what do you call the rule of thirds. I think that type of composition is it's a bit of a cliche, but it works on this one, especially when you have some uh, kind of like space in front of towards the movement, and the position of legs is totally perfect. Then that also adds to the motion that it's really fast, and the fact that she looks to be little bit leaning towards where she's going, so that also adds up to the feeling of motion. Yeah, and black and white probably it's hard to say, but it most likely fits this image really well. And then we go to the next one, which is from Isabella Farrago. How fast is the speed of thinking? clever punchline for the image or name for the image. And again, it looks slightly too bright on the screen. And I like the movement of the hand and the pen. Yeah, pen. And there is a feeling of how fast is the thinking, or how fast is the speed of thinking. It's really well done, and it's kind of like a minimalistic image with almost a high key image with most of the part is white. It's not that white as you see it over there, and then you have the dark hair, which is the black part of the high key image, and also the kind of like there's almost two hands because it's moving, so it's been. I don't know how did it say. No, it didn't say how long the shutter speed was, and also the composition is kind of like in a good way slightly off. I like the way that it's not just made the obvious, and I think that's something that I've kind of noticed that I don't know if I'm right or wrong on here, but quite a few of you, because there are some familiar names, almost not always the same names, but there are a lot of familiar names that have been getting their images through almost every time, and I think there's been a bit more interesting compositions, and you have kind of like taken the normal way and made it something new and something your own, and I think that's some kind of a progress that I've kind of noticed, and then also what I like about is images like this is you all seem to try different things and are not afraid to send images that are not the kind of like conventional ones. I hope it's not because I tend to like this type of images. Never try to make an image, and if you think that okay, I'm gonna make an image that you like, you will fail. Make an image that you like and make something of your own, and I think I will like the image. And of course, many of you have been sending images for years to these live streams, and I can see the progress, which I'm really happy about. I don't know if I'm correct about that, but if you've kind of noticed the same thing, that there are a lot more images that are kind of slightly wrong, which make them interesting. It's really hard to say or explain what I mean, but do something that is a bit distracting, and you will have a more interesting image than just doing by the book. Well done also with this image. I really liked it. And then we have Richard Priestley. That was fast. I shot some 50 plus images at this spot in about 50 minutes for the challenge. That was fast. And deleted all of them and was getting frustrated. Then I saw an opportunity with these two yellow vehicles, one a car and the other a tanker. I managed to shoot this photo with a panning effect using my own drive, just as they crossed each other. I like the intentional blur, the strong vivid yellow contrasting with the green of the trees and the speed effect. Equally, I felt vindicated in which this shot. Yeah, this is a good example also that it might not be the first one, or it could be the 56th one, which this probably is about. And yes, the colors, perfect match. And this is what I usually call the photographer's luck, because having a yellow tanker and a yellow car at the same time at the same spot and managing to get the motion blur like this is just perfect. I totally love this image because it took some effort and then you nailed it. And I think that's a greatest reward one can get, is to really push yourself, and then there it is, the image. You have to be patient. That are many times I've said that be patient, be patient. You will get it eventually. Might not be today, but maybe tomorrow, next week, next month, if you really try and have some idea in your head, then you will eventually get it, because you will start looking for things like that. So it was well spent, about an hour, if I understand correctly. It didn't take that much, but an hour is a good time to photograph. Yeah. What else? What do you think? Yeah, this is actually what I was talking before about having something wrong in the image is exactly what it is. It is called finding your own style. That is something wrong with the images. Yeah, exactly. That is what I was. Yeah, you're welcome, Richard. You did good. Did really well. And then we have Stephen Jude. By chance, I was standing at the right spot at the right time when the large flock of birds took to the air in a great hurry. The bird's wing caught the early morning sun and contrasted brightly against the pink sky. Yeah, this is also another beautiful image that can be printed big. Or you can even make a shirt, like a fabric, and print that as just to somehow make it so that it doesn't, the birds doesn't cut, so it will kind of like automatically be printed correctly, that one. But yeah, it is beautiful image, and the morning sun here is the key. Without that, it would be not that interesting because the light comes through the wings and makes them bright, and then of course the color of the sky is just remarkable. I totally agree with Richard. Great shot of the flock. It is. It's marvelous shot. It's a stunning shot, and I like the shape, the square shape too. And this is always, like you said, a bit of a chance, a bit of a luck. But then that's what it is. Photography is part of luck, but it is interesting that some people have more luck than others when they photograph. And so, is it luck or not, or is it just using the opportunity when there is the opportunity? Maybe we all see different types of opportunities to photograph, but we never see them. Someone else might have seen it, and this is a good example of that. It's a marvelous shot and perfect. What just happened? Because they all of a sudden just flew. And then we have a couple of more images. And then this is Wilford Abernathy. Being at the right place at the right time is essential to photograph speed. There are moving objects all about. While stopping at a railway crossing in a small town, I happened to have my Olympus camera available as freight trains sped fast. It so happened that the town courthouse was visible beyond the passing train. Despite the speed, I was able to include the courthouse in the fast-moving scene. It was always good to take your camera along whenever you can do so. Yes, always have your camera with you. I think that's the good thing. But this is odd-looking image because, and in a good way, of course, because of the townhouse. Or the town hall. Yeah, it was the town hall. You can see it between the. Well, yeah, I'm trying to find the word. Yeah, it was here. Yeah, visible beyond passing train, but it was between the well, you know what I mean. And it's remarkable that you got it like that because it's totally sharp. It's a perfect time to press the shutter because of course you can't see it through here. If that train was on front of this, you couldn't see it. So you had or pressed the shutter at the perfect time, and that makes the image slightly odd looking in a good way. I would probably crop this out just to make it more interesting or the interest on this one because this grabs slightly the attention. Or what you could do is to have this part the brightest and then just make a slight vignette so that this would be a bit more or darker. That could probably work. And is there some kind of a uh, something on your center that looks like it? Did you say that there wasn't it's a small aperture, so you might have something in the center. You might want to check that out if that's there, or do some center cleaning because on this one it doesn't ruin the image, but it could sometimes if it's excuse me, if it's on the wrong spot. If there's a face, for example, or something like that, then it might be on the way. And then we have the last shot from Tom Crazy. I was trying to get an image that reflects the fast-moving crowd of Munich Central Square Marienplatz. It was difficult to get the picture which shows the movement but does not get into total chaos and undistinction. So I got a picture of a woman hurrying across the square with her suitcase. Yeah, perfectly done. And also like the guy on the side here looking at what are you doing? I don't know. This is something that I might cut out, or then the image might lose something because, of course, obviously you see the lady in the front, then you see the guy, what's going on, and then you see a third person here that looks like is kind of like like flying, even though it's probably there's a suitcase the same way, but it looks like it's like gliding in the air. Yeah, it's not sharp. It doesn't have to be. I think the motion blur is just perfect on this because of the shape. And then this is also a good way to hide the busy background with some motion blur. And it also, at the same time, it tells a story about the busy place and waiting to get uh, someone isolated from the crowd. Because if there is a lots and lots of people, might get like he said, like Tom said here, that he's trying to uh, which shows the movement but does not get into the total chaos. Yeah, this is not a total chaos. This is perfectly. This is the only thing that I would think that should I or should you crop it or not. Not sure. You might want to try that and see how it looks. It probably is totally fine like this, but it's something to think about. And yeah, this time I had these images. There's a new assignment going on, and I hope you like that one too, and get some great images on those too. If there are any questions you want to ask or talk about, I'll still have it took only fast today. It's took only 50 minutes. I still have a few minutes to discuss if you have any questions about the assignments or anything else regards photography. If you ask any outside of photography, I might not answer you, but you can ask, of course. If there aren't any questions, then we could call it a night. And thank you for great images again. I think this was a good set of images. And like I said, I really like the thing that some of you are, or most of you are, kind of like trying to develop your own style. And there are some images that when I see them, I kind of guess who took it because I always do it so that I look at the images and I don't know who took it, and then I always check the names afterwards so that I won't get biased in any way. Because of course there are some of you that I like your style quite a lot, and you will progressing and keep on shooting because that's the only way to learn is to do these not these assignments, but usually some kind of an assignments. It usually helps a lot when you have some kind of a target what you're photographing, and but it's always a fine line where you are taking it too seriously. If you're not a professional or don't want to be a professional, don't take it too seriously. Photography is supposed to be fun, and if it's your hobby, then it's supposed to be fun, and you should enjoy it. And sometimes you might not get the image you want, but who cares? If you had fun photographing, and the act of making the photographs is also very important. At least for me, I might go out for a walk and just, fire away things and then realize that no, nothing. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. It'll come when it comes, and you know, don't worry about that. But yeah, thank you so much for sending these images and keep them coming, and we'll see you in a month. But don't forget the live stream about the artist and inspiration from art. I hope I can get. I only have like 6 or 7, so if you haven't watched that video, go and watch it and think if you can find an image or make an image that was inspired by an artist, music, painting, some art movement or whatever that was inspiring you when you took that image. Okay, thanks for watching and bye for now.